The human civilization is highly dependent on using fossil fuels as a main energy source. In fact, fossil fuels supply about 80% of the world's energy. However, fossil fuel is a non-renewable resource that causes many problems. Fossil fuel combustion produces a massive amount of carbon dioxide that is added to the Earth's atmosphere. The carbon dioxide that is produced can act as a greenhouse gas which traps the infrared radiation. The infrared radiation trapped in this stage will cause global warming, continuing to increase the temperature of the Earth. In addition, burning coal and oil causes sulfur dioxide, a toxic gas to be produced. This toxic gas provokes respiratory issues with living creatures, and acid rain to fall as it goes up to the sky. Lastly, the practical problem with using fossil fuel is that it will eventually deplete out, since the amount of fossil fuels in the earth is finite. However, do you know that there is a limitless energy which we can feel and see every day, and can largely mitigate the production of greenhouse gas using an element that we can find easily around ourselves? This energy is a nuclear fusion energy that is being made in the sun, which makes every creature alive on the earth. If we could implement sun's nuclear fusion on earth, wouldn't we be able to absolve the depletion of energy that we've been facing for a long time? Today, we'll be looking for the 21st century's future energy resource: nuclear fusion. Nuclear fusion energy is considered as the ultimate solution to the energy problems that the humanity is facing, because of its many scintillating advantages. The first advantage of nuclear fusion is that it is very energy efficient. A fusion power station of 1 gigawatt only necessitates a fuel less than a ton. In addition, a kilogram of fuel for fusion can supply the equal amount of energy to 10 million kilograms of fossil fuel. The second advantage of nuclear fusion is that there is no carbon emission occurring in the process of nuclear fusion. The byproducts of nuclear fusion are little amounts of inert gas, which doesn't harm the environment when it's released into the air. The third advantage of nuclear fusion is that it has plentiful amounts of fuels that can be used for many thousands of years. Nuclear fusion uses deuterium, tritium, which are the isotopes of hydrogen. Deuterium is achieved from water, and tritium is extracted from lithium in a power station, which is a material that can be abundantly found in seawater and Earth's crust. The fourth advantage of nuclear fusion is that it doesn't produce any radioactive waste that could be lethal to creatures and the environment. The last advantage of nuclear fusion is that it is a safe technology. Nuclear fusion cannot cause any tragic nuclear disasters like the Fukushima and Chernobyl. This is because it is not based on a chain reaction, and every small shift of the reactor's working configuration will make the reactor stop processing just in a few seconds. Now that we learned about the advantages of nuclear fusion, let's now study about the basic concept of how fusion works. Nuclear fusion is the emergence of light atomic nuclei, deuterium and tritium, to a heavy atomic nucleus, helium, happened by a strong collision. Nuclear fusion energy can be achieved when the reduced mass formed during the fusion of the atomic nuclei is transferred. To make the collision of the hydrogen successful, there are three important requirements that need to be fulfilled. Firstly, the hydrogen of large mass, deuterium and tritium, need to collide with each other. Secondly, in order to minimize the repulsive force around the hydrogen, the state in which the electrons are separated from the hydrogen, plasma state, needs to be maintained. Lastly, the environment that has a very high temperature of 100 million degrees Celsius needs to be prepared for the hydrogens to accelerate toward each other enoughly fast, defeating the repulsive force between the hydrogens. By keeping all of these requirements, the sun, is able to release nuclear fusion energy and brightly shine. Because of the sun's enormous gravity, the environment of scorching temperature and high pressure naturally forms, and the plasma hydrogen atoms will bounce around, bumping into each other. At this time, nuclear fusion naturally occurs, releasing the nuclear fusion energy and being able to splendidly shine into space where there is nothing to combust. Then how do we safely make the environment that the sun has on the Earth? How is it even possible to implement nuclear fusion on the Earth? Well, it is not easy to artificially build an environment like that. However, there are 3 types of nuclear fusion reactors that can help to implement nuclear fusion on the Earth. Out of the 3 types, today we will study about one type of reactor that is the most successful and widely known. The reactor is called ITER, ITER, which stands for International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor. ITER is a nuclear fusion reactor that uses a machine called the tokamak, which is a donut-type confinement device that uses magnetic coil. You will be able to easily understand if you think of a giant donut that is filled with plasma instead of flour dough. Nuclear fusion in the tokamak works by filling the donut with plasma hydrogen and heating it up with beams, rising its temperature and energy. If it is enoughly heated, then the hydrogens will collide to each other, releasing the fusion energy. The ITER method has the largest scale, and it is funded with a tremendous amount of money. Korea is also actively executing a nuclear fusion project using a reactor called the K-STAR. Nuclear fusion technology also has some difficulties that it is facing. Like many other big science projects, the research of nuclear fusion technology is being delayed. So it will take many more years to make it a commercial technology. In addition, a tremendous amount of money is required to build the machine and research more about nuclear fusion, as one nuclear fusion reactor costs about $6 billion. Lastly, the amount of energy that the nuclear fusion technology produces is not yet practical and productive when it is compared with the amount of money that is invested in executing the project. However, the reason why scientists are obsessed with nuclear fusion is because it can enormously reduce the amount of carbon dioxide and greenhouse gas that are being produced by the use of fossil fuels, and be completely freed from the problem of radioactive wastes that are being produced from nuclear fission and nuclear power plants. So far, it was a video about nuclear fusion. Thank you for watching.